Why was my mic off? Nobody knows. Blah, blah. Done, sort, blah blah blah. I want to do this one. Maybe. Done. Oh, like that. Nah, I'm just gonna delete this. Well, I had to reboot, so I have to create everything again. Where are we? It's so annoying that a line number jump back and forward. Ah, there it is. Okay. Well, maybe close enough. Is this a new subbranch? It is a new subbranch. Let me say that this is easier. Do the overlapping first. Or probably should say I'll probably need to add a new boolean to aim that on the same texture. And then I can set that at the top. So I don't need to. Well, actually, I would. It's possible that we never enter this while loop. Yeah, I need to set it. Give it a default. Same texture would mean that the current iterator I guess that would be iter seconds. Let's guess that it is my texture equals, and then we get here texture. If that is correct, well, the iterator is pointing to a thing which is that type dereferences to something who is well, something being a pair, and then second is a texture const pointer. So yes, sector dot. Sorry, no, second is the texture pointer, right? Yep. This. And my texture update request is this class, which has a texture const pointer m texture, which is returned by the call to texture. So that was correct. And we break as well if it is the same texture. Now here I have hey, Everton. We got an exam tomorrow. The last one, always nice. So the texture is the same. I always have to merge. I'm not sure I want to have a just testing it. I think maybe I should just test it. That means that no, let me see. Same factory characteristic ID is false, then you have left here. Here, I mean. Because we did not leave here. You could have left because of this. That is totally true. But then, okay, same texture is then also false. Oh boy, so many possibilities. Do them one by one and then see if I can get rid of possible code duplication. So if same texture, that means we left here. It means that ether is still pointing to something, not end, and the characteristic ID is the same, and it has the same texture. In other words, we just have to update. Just have to merge the subrange with what ether is pointing to. And in fact, I just have to in place iterator. Let's say update. What do I do? Merge. I don't know what I used before. Something with range. Oh, that's a lot. Extend subrange. Oh, sounds nice. Could use that. Extend subrange, and then in this case I want to extend it with the subrange that we have. Now we're kind of done, I think, right? Right, well, it's not easy. If errors can be made, I need to add a few asserts here, I think. Since we leave this loop, as soon as the texture is the same, none of the previous elements has the same texture, and that would also not be allowed. But none of the following elements has the same texture, I think, because we already found one with the same texture, and it's not allowed to have the same texture twice. So I assume that initially we do not have the same texture in any two elements. Then after merging we still won't, and therefore any subsequent ones don't either. So what can go wrong? What can go wrong is that merging this subrange with this element makes it overlap with something, and if that happens, then it would be definitely overlap with the previous element and or the next element. But can it overlap with the previous element? If it overlaps with the previous element after updating it with this subrange here, and before it didn't because that is not allowed, then this one must overlap with the previous one. And if that is the case, then the previous one would have exited because of this. Because we do exit when we overlap, right? If it overlaps, then this is not less than that, therefore this is true, therefore we break. So it's not possible that this one overlaps with the previous element. So the only thing I still have to check, I think, is if it overlaps with a element that comes after that, which means that it will overlap with the element that comes immediately after it, if there is any such element. Assert, and although if I do that I would change iter. I don't like to change iter because this is debug code. Let's make a copy. You have CW underscore debug, which is one when assert does something. Then I'm going to make a copy of my iterator. Iterator, yeah. Auto. So either there is no subsequent element, which means that this now is equal to the end of this vector, or it does not overlap, which means that our subrange is less than iter2 first subrange. Or I can just not do this and wait. Now let's do it. Now that's a difficult question, Louis. Vulkan is gives you full control over modern GPUs at a very low level. So if you write a game with it, then in the end you would get higher performance. But that's probably several years of study before you can work with Vulkan, because it's very difficult. So if you just begin with any 3D at all, it's probably better to begin with OpenGL, because yeah, Vulkan is very, very hard. That being said, I didn't know anything either about computer graphics. I started with Vulkan. Hell, I started with writing a Vulkan engine, like not knowing anything about computer graphics. But I know a lot of mathematics and linear algebra helps maybe. And I have a spatial insight that is off the scale. Literally. I think I even use my spatial insight, the part of my brain that does the spatial insight for programming. So a lot of abstract things that have all kinds of interactions, associations with each other. I have no visual, how do you say that? Visual voorstellingsvermogen in English. English is not my first language. So, yeah. Sometimes, if I close my eyes, I see nothing. I cannot imagine a picture. But I can imagine 3D things in a dark way. It's really weird. I think it actually helps me, because I don't think in words and I cannot see pictures in my head, but I have a grasp on relationships between abstract objects. And I think that especially because I lack the normal visualization, I'm not bound by 3D and linear stuff. My feeling for connections between objects, as it were, is not limited by 3D or linear space as the normal world around you. Because I'm not visualizing in any way. It's much more abstract. But now I'm digressing. Anyway, so yeah, well, every assert needs a comment, so I have to add one here. And I think that if this happens, then what is wrong is okay, so I need to write this extend subrange. Doesn't exist yet, and I'm calling it on this iterator, which happens to be Of what type? Well, the usual type. Actually, it's just a dereference of the thing here again. That cannot be right. It must be first. I have an extend subrange already. But now I need to add one that has takes a consecutive. Why am I using consecutive range here? And then in my comment I wrote contiguous range. Is the consecutive not the right word? Maybe I should have used contiguous from the beginning. Sorry, I have to find out what it is, what the meanings are. So I wrote contiguous. I think I know what that is. Sharing a common next or together in sequence. That's definitely what I meant. What I was using is consecutive. Consecutive. Following each other continuously. What is the fucking difference? Consecutive versus contiguous. Consecutive implies minimal gaps, contiguous implies no gaps. Okay. I'm happy with the way it is, I guess. Subrange and our contiguous range must be extended with a extend subrange memo function. Maximum and maybe it becomes larger. Yeah, so this the larger of the two ends and the smaller of the two begins. Maybe should call it merge or whatever instead of extend, but hey. Nope. Here I was. But it's the same texture. This is according to my objective here. If our range overlaps with any existing element, it may not overlap with more than one element. That's more like something that goes between braces, parentheses. Then we have to extend the subrange of that element, and the texture must be replaced. Well, in this case, the texture is equal, and therefore we replace it with itself, and then we just extend the subrange. Like I said, it's guaranteed to not overlap with the previous elements, otherwise we would have stopped earlier. But if it overlaps with the next element, then that would be bad. So I go to the next element, and then if that's end, it's okay. Otherwise it has to be, that's not true. Otherwise it has to be, where's that? Ding ding ding. Otherwise it has to be unequal in factory ID. I guess I'll just put it all on a different line. And if even the factory characteristic ID is the same, then it may not overlap with the next one. Yep. If the texture is not the same, that would be this else here. Okay, this is a new subrange, A, C or E case. So this goes before the first element, C goes in the middle and E goes at the end. And iter will be pointing in these cases to this one. This one will be pointing to that. And this one will be pointing afterwards, so the end. And while I'm at it, these three respectively point to whatever they overlap with. So 3, 6 also points to this one. And the 3, 10 also, and the 7, 9 also. I guess they all three overlap with the first element. And here I have one that overlaps with the last element. So iter points to that. Let's break out. We'll leave the while loop. Iter pointing to. Okay, so here we have ACE, before, middle or end, and it's not the same texture as whatever it's pointing to, and it can also not be the same texture as the one before it, aka in the case of C. C does not overlap with the first range, it does not overlap with the second range. We break out of it pointing to the second one, and it does not have the same texture as the first one, as this one. Because then we would have broken out of it the previous iterator, the previous value of ether. However, it is possible that it has the same texture as ether itself, or not. No, I'm testing that here. Yeah, neither is the same. So I just have to insert it, I guess. Before. Inserted before iterator, and then we have to pause. I keep forgetting that, it's getting really tiresome. A pair that is created from key and a texture pointer. Okay. Yeah, the key is just our key. Let's try to do it on this way. I guess this is our key. Factory characteristic ID, that doesn't sound like a key, right? Or is it? No, it's not. It's part of it. Followed by the texture. So that's like this thing here. That's a texture. Yeah, but the first thing, this returns not a key, it returns an ID. I think I need this one, factory. I have a key. I can just call key. Or can we? Or fill index. Yeah, actually, yes, yes. So difficult. I probably made mistakes here. That means that I have to like write test code to test it. I hate that. I might just have key here. I might have done this before. Yep, there it is. I used that for some reason. I don't know. Is that necessary? Key to texture. Oh. Anyways, this inserts it before that. It looks good. That key. Why the hell is that, guys? That's not good. It's not true, even. No, I need to use sub-range. It's not good. Plus, I don't understand why I would have this value type here. Isn't it like obvious? Insert, is insert making it obvious? I think so. I'm going to try if this compiles like. Yeah, and then you have to wonder if the previous one was correct. What am I doing here? Calling key? This is the first entry of this vector characteristic, inserted before ether. Yeah, it's wrong. Let's try it the same way. Exactly the same way. Like, exactly the same way. I'm gonna remove these spaces, I think, because it's like, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. I just have to. Why am I just copying the whole line? Why? P. Hey, shotgun. How is you? And YouTube knows. YouTube knows. YouTube. Do you know what you want? Okay, I'll add a comment. Overlapping range, B and D, yeah. What? There were 3 days where they did not recommend me. I'll have to make a phone call. Hello? No, okay, just kidding. I want an ice cream, but I don't have ice cream. I didn't buy it. I don't think eating one ice cream every day is a good idea. Is it? Very tasty though. Is there an assert that I can add here? I guess I should still check if any subsequent element does not have the same texture. Of course, since it is a new texture, that is possible. So tiring, really. I hate doing this. It's a shitty function to write. I guess I need a while loop. Do while for, let's start with an increment. You can start with an increment, but yeah, just start with an increment. But wait, I didn't want to increment iter. So we may start with a copy and then I increment it. And then we do while iter is iter2 even. I get almost the same thing here. It's unequal and unequal and iter blah blah equals do our check. Comment is basically the same thing. And the check is that the texture is different. So that is like the same thing as we did here. Assert that it is unequal, and we're using iter2. We're using iter2 here as well. Poo-poo, okay. Yeah, this one. Overlapping means, well, it just has to be the same texture. Otherwise something is wrong. And then when you just merge it. So it must be the same texture. I guess I can assert it immediately. Assert same texture. What is the comment that goes with that? Oh wait, that's not true. And if it is a different texture, we just replace it. Not true. So again, if it is the same texture, then we just do exactly the same as here. Extend it and After extension it may not overlap with the next one, I guess. Previous one still impossible, so it's the same code. Oh, duplication code duplication. Oh, I hate that. It's so bad. This is really bad. What am I doing here? The whole thing is exactly the same. Come on, man. What the hell? Well, let's first write it and then try to get rid of that. Else, not the same texture. It overlaps, not the same texture. That means that we must replace it, but we must still extend the subrange. So really we still have to do the same thing. What is all there is. Replace the texture. Well, that's a load of very big load. Let's try to compile this. What am I doing this with small font? Ooh, people, why didn't you tell me? Yeah, make. All these viewers that I have, they're not really viewing, they're just here to hear my voice. Like Post Bunny in the background. He's not chatting, but I know you are here. Oh, it's not compiling. 165 error, no matching function called 2. So the vector pair insert new because initial is a list. Insert iter. Why is that then? Candidate iterator const input, that's not the one. Candidate value type, that should be the one. With TP is standard pair. Wait. Oh, that's true. But, okay, and answer one, and then, where's the error? No known conversion for argument 2 from 2. The value type, aka const standard pair vulkan pipeline factory characteristic key, comma. Cons will consider builders in the texture pointer. Why not? No, nobody knows. I guess it's necessary that I tell it that it has to be the value type thing. I really don't get it. It should know this. You can use B to jump to the previous word. I'm trying to use W. People keep pointing that out to me, but when I overshoot, I didn't know that to use the B. So thank you. It's now still complaining. No matching function for call to pair. That's maybe why it was failing in the first place. Oh, it is hard to read, I have to admit. Yeah, I don't know. My best guess is that it is too stupid or something to understand. It spells out what a pair is, right? Yeah. So why would it not just try to construct it from my texture update request key, comma, subrange? Factory characteristic key. Either that or this won't compile. Really? Oh, what? Oh, yeah, just compile it. Let's just try to compile it. Vulkan pipeline. It should already be in Vulkan. I'll just add pipeline. No matching function for call to Vulkan pipeline. Okay. Yeah, I guess it wouldn't. This must be the ID, not the key. Shouldn't it? So the factory characteristic key takes characteristic ID, yeah. And I wanted to do that here. This is I started with the key, and then I thought, oh no, I have to add subrange, and I did not change the key to ID. That happened. And this is the same thing. I'm trying to use ID here and see if it can pick it up now. I'm using Vim. I'm using NeoVim. I think NVim is better than Vim. Now I've got what I was doing, and this is now still not compile. Texture updated request has no member ID. Yeah, so the key is what it is, what I want. So I should use key in this case. Yeah, wait, we're going to try this. Okay, colon VW, and now return. No, that didn't work. Control maybe V. Aha. Can I go back one? Yeah. Yeah, that works. I need to delete that one as well, actually. Okay. I think that's good. What to do next? Just V? I typed Control V. I'll try it without Control next then, but I thought you need I made it work with Control V as well. Well, maybe not immediately. I had to type. No, I think it worked. Anyway. I think I mainly switched to NVim because if I just type NVim, maybe like /user bin NVim, It just opens my last file where I left off instead of giving me some annoying message about Uganda. What the fuck was it about? That became really annoying after a few decades. Started to feel outdated. Class vulkan descriptor blah 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 is no memory ID. I'm getting tired of this as well. It does not have ID. We just saw that. Well, that is the same line. I'm an idiot. So what I did, I kept the value. Did I keep the value or did I not keep the value? I don't know anymore even. So look for the key again and just copy the whole line. I did keep the value. Copy 2 lines even. Now I don't know where we came from. But there's a no trick even. Alright, I changed something. Oh no. Undo. That's also possible. Print 2 new lines, indent them, delete this one, compile again. Hello Jesse. It compiled. Yeah, but nothing, right? It's simply literally nothing. I don't know if it works. I never tested it. Let's assume this code works, because I don't feel like testing it. And then ask ourselves what to do after calling this. After getting this information in. Oh boy. Yeah, it is not easy. It keeps being not easy. I'm now having 2 vectors. This vector and this vector. Both of them, both the vectors have a standard pair in it that begins with the factory characteristic key, both of them. And then this one stores characteristic data, which I don't think is in any way interesting until I have made my decision to use it. And the same for the texture and theory. What I would do, if I haven't already done it before, is that I would find every matching keys, and they are like, they have a factory ID and a characteristic ID. Those must match exactly, but they also have contiguous ranges that might or might not overlap. I'm not sure if I want to allow overlap of one of those with multiple of the other one. I'm not sure I should allow that, although why not? Yeah, I should allow that actually, but only one way. So this one may overlap multiple of those, not the other way. Does that make sense? Right, I think so, yeah. So what I could do is run over all the elements in this vector, find and run over all the elements in this vector. I can do both. And since they are sorted, you can kind of make a race between two iterators and then that way find all the overlapping keys. And then every time I find something that overlaps, I do my thing. That is, I update the descriptor set with this texture. But now we make a change. We do only one single call. We change either this or we change that vector. I cannot, or I do not want to, or I don't know what, but you cannot just update everything again, I think, just because you change one little thing. I don't have to. No. I definitely do not have to. But that makes a lot of code again. No, I changed one of them. And that means that I only have to update whatever that one is overlapping with. And the fast path is the only one that's really interesting, and that is the one where I change my texture. So either I add a new texture, or I change the texture, and or I change or enlarge the subrange. If I change the texture, not the subrange, I would just rebind, I guess. Re-update everything that the thing overlaps with. Okay, this is definitely difficult. Actually, it's not difficult at all. I could code it, but I wanted to code it fast. I don't want to write some code that is possibly way slower than it needs to be. That's what makes it difficult. Okay, let's say that what I just said is true. That this one may overlap with multiple of those, but not the other way around. Then I can write a function that finds the single texture in this vector having any key of that one. And I can find the range, which is just 2 iterators, in this vector having a single one of that. I think I need those functions to exist, so maybe I should just write those first. Now, an iterator is really just a pointer for a vector. So I think I can return it as a standard pair of 2 iterators for this one. It can be a private function as well. Everything is public here. So I'm going to need 2 functions. One returns a pair and the other one returns simply an iterator, single iterator. The single iterator would be that one, right? Single iterator into the textures. And I don't think I want to update anything. Can be a const iterator, but hey. Also, there was one of these famous guys who wrote lots of C++ books. Forgot his name. But I heard that he wrote somewhere that if you can use an iterator, you should use an iterator instead of a const iterator. I never understood that, or I don't know why or what, but ever since I hesitate to use a const iterator. And it's kind of silly. Because I don't even know. I never tested it or whatever. I should use a const iterator. Now, if only I knew why. Now, I have all these books and just never read them. I can never find that back, of course. Then I would have to read all these books. What is he called? Myers something? C++. Myers. Scott Myers, yeah, that's him. So the remark was about, I think, use iterator, not const iterator. Bang! Google is God. Well, not really, but I'm impressed. Item 26 of his book Effect of STL. Scholars recommends pre-iterator const iterator. As you understand, it justifies this mainly by explaining that const iterator does not work with certain functions. Of course not. But isn't that the whole point? Blah blah blah. Short answer is that Myers does consider const preferable when using an up-to-date implementation of the STL. Okay, I think we are there by now, due to the improvements made in the C++ standard. Before discussing his reasons for giving the anti-const iterator advice in the first place, explaining what changed though, I need to clear up misconception. You're right, isn't the whole point? Well, I'm not interested in that. Now it's fully advised and effective. I'll paraphrase. Right, in see, that's like more than 20 years ago. Had only half-hearted support. It wasn't that easy to create them, blah blah blah. Oh my god. I literally have been afraid using const iterator for decades. After that it was fixed in C++ 11. Well, okay, not decades, but a decade. And now we know that it was bullshit. I'm glad I looked it up. Definitely const iterator here. Never believe something on face value. You have to understand it. I never understood why, so I got stuck with it. Lazare 26. Good night. And I should be leaving too pretty soon, yeah. And this one is going to return const iterators, 2 of them. To the other vector. Now we need a name for the function. Yeah, find sounds right, but find what? Find texture. And then the input is a pipeline characteristic key, I guess. Suppose that is a const reference, you never know. Call it key. And then this one, yeah, it's definitely going to be a const function as well. And this is called find descriptor. Well, descriptors, because it could return more than one thing. And still the same. Nope. Yeah, bear, yeah. It's me not keeping up to date. I have the feeling. Normally I try to embrace everything that's new, because I don't want to get stuck as an old dinosaur. That's why I am coding in C++ 20. Okay, let's copy these things and then put them in this file here. some reason indentation was 3 spaces. That worries me. I have to look into that. Should have been 2 spaces. Just typed it wrong. Okay, now I have to implement these things because I think I need them, and then after that I'll go. Hey Redchin, last slide to study, which is the morphological operations in image processing. Well, that's just all reversible operations. Now, in image processing in mathematics, that would be all linear operations, because you can write those as a matrix, and then there is an inverse, as long as the determinant of the matrix is non-zero, of course. But that would be, translation, rotation, and making things larger and smaller. But image processing, if you make an image smaller, it's you're gonna lose data. That's not reversible. Or am I completely misremembering the meaning of morphological? Gonna look it up. Maybe am I misremembering it? Hey, Ratin? I think I'm confused with homomorph something. I cannot remember all these names. I've always been bad at languages. So arbitrary words meaning something. I thought it was reversible. I guess it's not. Well, what's in a name? No, I looked up and then we get here. I thought that a morphological operation would be a reversible operation, aka a linear operation. But I'm not seeing that back here at all. In fact, I don't even know what dilatation. Well, my eyes can dilate, so that's making it larger, I guess. But erosion, that far from sounds reversible. So it's I just see it wrong. But this is what you are studying. Yeah, okay, because I looked up the word that you said. Oh well. Yeah, I'm thinking about buying one of these because I need more movement. I'm afraid that if I buy it, and it costs a lot of money, of course, then won't use it. It would be typical for me. Spend 1,000 euros and then do nothing with it. I have the habit of that. Yeah, okay, so that's definitely not what I thought it was. I have a bad memory. Let's keep it at that. Yep. I don't like writing this code. I really don't like it. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to write this. It's boring. Okay, let's write this one first because it looks easier. Because I only have to return one thing. That one. Let's begin at the beginning. The first element. And then in the end we return the type is correct, so let's return it. But in between we might change our mind. So we could do while, no, yeah, more like, yeah, while. And then we do, okay, I don't want to test it. Oh, actually the thing could be empty, so let's just do it. While iter is unequal the end. Might return end as well. So now iter is pointing to something, and then I want to go to the next one, unless that, and then we're done. So I want to find an element that I want to return. As soon as I find one that I want to return, and well, when do we find something that I want to return? That would be when excusez-moi. When this is equal, the subrange overlaps. I might as well write an operator equal here, maybe. It's equal if the ID is equal right inside MID. And the subrange is equal. Which actually means that it overlaps. Not exactly equal. Maybe I should not abuse the operator equals for that. So instead I'm gonna do I'm using a name for overlaps instead of operator equals. Now the MID, that is also a thing with two variables, but I do have an operator equals here. It just checks if the factory index is equal, and if that is the case, then also the range must be equal, and if that is the case, then we will check if the subrange overlaps. So it's going to be pretty fast, just one comparison until we find the same factory ID, and then until an extra comparison until we find the characteristic ID, and then it's reasonably fast, right? I mean, yeah, well, it's linear search, but a vector is just faster than a map until, I don't know, a lot of elements which you don't have. What to do? Oh, I have the right overlaps. What is subrange? Executive range. And then we have a Boolean overlaps with another range. Yeah, should not call this the right hand side anymore. And just call it the subrange as I call it everywhere else. Well, yeah, that's kind of nasty. I have to check. I think I have to do 2 checks, right? Just it overlaps if it does not overlap. I can only think about it like a knot. It's not such that end is less than or equal subrange and begin. And I guess subrange end less than or equal and begin. Which is just this one, yeah. So if it's not, if it is not less than, the one is not less than one, and the other and the other one is not less than the first one. So then, in whatever order it's not less, then they must be equal. And then write this a little bit different. I can invert this. I don't know why I just leave it like this, but I have the feeling that I am doing something stupid by doing it like this. No? Let's invert this. So that means that this becomes an OR, and the other things I have to put a not in front of it, which then of course means that you just have to change this into a larger then. Does it make sense? If end is larger than subrange and begin, not through this. I thought I... Huh? Okay, am I crazy? This is my range. And now we have the other one, the sub-range begin and comma end. So, and they overlap. Well, they overlap, they overlap, they overlap, they overlap. Now they don't overlap. So if M subrange end is less than or equal M begin, then this is true. Ah, that was a mistake. This should be an OR. So if it is on the left side, then it's not equal, and if it is on the right side, that's this one, then it's also not equal. So if this one is true or this one is true, then it is not overlapping, and then it's not equal. Now I can change this to and then this becomes an end. So the end must be larger than the begin, and the other end must be larger than the other begin. Still very hard to grasp. Really. Yeah, it actually makes sense. Definitely makes sense, I think. Yeah, it makes sense, but it's very hard to grasp. Duh. Well, this is a lot more trivial. Okay, so when does this match? I'll say it matches if iter oh boy. Did I just add an equal thing for a key or not? Yeah, that's what I added. Factory characteristic key. So something equals key. Is that just the reference of it, or am I completely crazy here again, as usual? Characteristic key to texture iterator. That is a key. Oh yeah, yeah, of course. It's the overlap is already in it. Yeah. So we begin, and then it might be not overlapping or just completely on one side, on the left side, say. And we can never get to the end until unless we find one that has equal IDs and overlaps, and otherwise we'll just break on the end and return end. So I think this works, this one. Now I could put this one in inside the while, but I don't really see a reason for that. I think this reads better, easier. Right, now implement this one. That has to return 2 of them. I think I'm going to construct that so that the compiler understands so that it can use copy elation. The result. Return result. But yeah, I still have to initialize it. I'm gonna use standard make pair, I think, and then use auto here. And then we can use yeah, the other one. This one. Set both the iterators on begin. And then that kind of seems like a waste, I must say. Because I don't need to initialize that one at all. Okay, I'm going to give the compiler more credit, and I'll not use a result value of type standard pair. I'm just gonna have an auto first. And then later we're going to have a second one. Well, somewhere. Probably is it's initialize with that, and then I'm gonna return the pair as first and second. Now, can we find the first one? The first one is the one that overlaps. That overlaps the first. So I guess it can just do the exactly same as here, right? I think so. So I'm gonna do while first is unequal and if first equals key, break. So that's now the first one that matches, and then we do second is equal to first, and then we just keep on going, I guess. While second is unequal and no, it's not how we do it. I always have to increment seconds. Simply until it is no longer equal. Yeah, until it is end actually. Or so I can do while plus second is unequal end. Or second is unequal key. Now I don't want to stop. I have to continue. Duh. Is this correct? So we make it equal to first, and then I set it one past first. And then if it's still unequal the end, it's nonsensical, of course. It should be end. If it's still unequal the end, and it is still equal to the key, and then we increment it and so on and so on. So after that it's either second is end or is second point to the first element that is no longer matching, which is what we want. Okay, return that. Find descriptors and find texture. Okay, I implemented these things, and I'm gonna stop for today because it is 1 past midnight and I can go on forever, as you know. I'll continue tomorrow with this, and then we'll just continue right here, I guess, somewhere. My god, the thing became large. All of that is a lambda. It's a lambda. So fun, isn't it? Fun. Yeah, it's yeah. I don't know, man. It's not trivial, as it were. Well, I would finish it yesterday, like Not yesterday, not today, hopefully tomorrow. As in finally seeing textures again, you know. I cannot go to bed while it doesn't compile. Bits declaration. Yeah, that was just stupid. Friend. Oh, what is this? More errors. Passing const. The overlaps is not const. The idiot that I am. Course overlaps is const. Factory characteristic key to descriptor type is not declared in this code. This is why prompts have colors. You can find it back. No match for operator equals. Factory characteristic key. Oh wait. One is a key and the other one isn't. Yeah, that's true. Nah, cannot be right. Stop. There it is. Second. That's confusing. I hate pairs. Finally it compiles. Okay, good night everyone. I'll be back tomorrow with more.